Hi, I'm Bruce Burke, and we're here today at the Social Mobile Payments Conference in Miami, Florida. And today I'm joined by Lawrence Eckelboom from ParkMobile. And ParkMobile is the leading provider of mobile parking solutions worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide, absolutely.
And I found ParkMobile, a funny story, I got a traffic ticket in St. Petersburg, downtown St. Petersburg, while having lunch, and I found out when I went to pay the ticket, there was a flyer in the ticket office about ParkMobile. So why don't you tell us, one, about ParkMobile basically, and then two, how you continue to build it, and I know you're doing some new and unique things. So.
Well, really appreciate the opportunity. As you can hear from my accent, we are a European company, started in 1999 in the Netherlands, and during the first 5-6 years in our existence, we were focusing heavily on the IVR, an interactive voice recognition system that people could call with a toll-free number, and then they could key in the zone number that was associated with the parking space, and there was a really tin can voice behind it. So it wasn't nothing too excited, but it was very excited because it was new and nobody did it. And fortunate for us, we grew very rapidly in the UK, in the Netherlands, Germany. And around 2008, we became so dominant that we decided to make the move to the United States. And I was asked to help with establishing a presence, which I did. And we found out that the first year we had to evangelize our solutions. We were regarded as the funny guys from Europe with the funny accents, and we found out that being world famous in Europe doesn't mean anything here in the States. But with that said, we kind of pushed through, and with our first implementation in the city of Grand Rapids in Michigan, we became credible, and then things went very fast. We started to deploy other big cities, municipalities, Boston, and finally Washington DC, Houston, etc., etc. So we became very credible, very fast. We got a huge influx in new members, and one of the things that helped us tremendously was the technology innovation, and especially mobile apps of the last 2.5-3 years. And we kind of recognized that mobile apps could become the sweet spot of convenience for parking, and that's why we decided to launch one of the first mobile apps. I would say even the first mobile app in parking. The first one was a browser version, but fast enough we created native apps, and if we look at today, more than 76% of all our traffic is conducted via one of our mobile apps.
Universities, municipalities, stadiums,
private operators, hospitals, yeah, absolutely, airports. So everywhere where parking is available, we are an interesting alternative. And one of the reasons that municipalities or operators are embracing our technology is because you can implement our solutions at no capital cost, so no capex. And in these economical times, I mean, that was very interesting for municipalities. But what we also found out, and what cities found out, is that with our system, they increased their revenue. So every pay-by-phone parking transaction, mobile payment transaction, as we like to call it, generated more revenue than a traditional meter transaction. And one of the things is that because it's so convenient and so simple, people tend to stay longer, but also people pay for the real time that they've parked. And if you have coins, and it's like $2 an hour, and you can only pay with quarters, well, you must be lucky enough to carry that pocket full of change. So it's a no-brainer. It's a sweet spot of convenience. And one other aspect that was embraced by municipalities is that people like the solution. Not only because we have mobile apps and people love their cell phones and smartphones, but it's just so convenient. If you have a meeting, you can extend your parking transaction remotely, you get an alert 15 minutes prior to expiration. So it's just convenient. And we're very excited about that.
and you have SMS, voice,
mobile apps,
and NFC.
And NFC, absolutely. Our apps are GPS enabled, so that means that we can start a parking transaction based on your actual GPS location. And the GPS location is obviously the GPS location of the parking space. But besides that, you can enter the zone number manually. But we also have QR codes on both Apple and Android, where you can scan the QR code sticker on the QR code on the sticker on the meter and start a transaction. And in several cities we also offer NFC. For instance, in Oakland, where we put an NFC chip in our signage, and people with Android phones can tap their phone and start the transaction.
I'm trying to think if there's a way that you don't do it, and I'm not thinking of any. You got the QR, you got the barcode, you got the... So, I pull into a parking spot, and regardless of what methodology I begin the transaction with, I begin a transaction, and I say, give me an initial 2 hours. I'm going to a meeting, and you think it's going to go 2 hours, and then you're in the meeting, and it's heading into hour 3, and you know it's going to be hour 3, and so I get a warning that it's about to expire, and I say continue, and it goes back to I have a card on file, or I have a deposit on file. Does it also work with do I have to fund the account with cash? Can I hook it to my bank via ACH? How do I fund the application?
Well, great questions. When we started in America, we found out that credit card was something that was generally accepted. So we started with credit card, but soon we added debit cards with a credit card logo on it as well. In Europe, we were already advanced in terms of ACH, direct debit, also invoicing. But we will do that later in the US. It's not that we cannot do it, but what we found out is that the stored value solution, a mobile wallet, was also very much desired by our target audiences. So what we did is we deployed a mobile wallet with Citibank, which means that all the funds are held on an escrow account that is owned by Citibank. And by doing that, we were able to offer our members a stored value solution. There was also an economical, interesting solution for them, because we could keep our transaction fee a little bit lower by offering the ParkMobile wallet. And then the exciting news is that yesterday we announced a partnership with PayPal, which means that we have a direct integration with PayPal, and I'm going to show that during the presentation a little bit more. And that means that that PayPal, with 117 million members, can easily use their payment method to start a parking transaction. And it's also possible to offer a cash preferred solution via PayPal, because you can buy a stored value credit card and put that credit on your PayPal account. So that's an additional benefit.
My meeting runs over, I've authorized another hour, and I go to leave, and now I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive away. Do I say I'm done parking now? Do I send a signal to the company and that stops my bill at that point, or does it just go through the end of that hour, or how does that work? I mean, my problem with check-in has always been, so-and-so's checked in, next door. But he checked in 15 hours ago. He's no longer there. He's gone now, When did he check out, And so the check-in's good.
Yeah.
You don't see much people checking out of any place. They say you check in with your mobile phone, you log in on Foursquare, and you check out at the register. So how does that work with ParkMobile? How does the ending come to be?
Well, I want to say that there's always a happy ending, but that's not appropriate. The thing is that we can do whatever you want, and that sounds corny, but it's really true. So in Europe, we were very strong in what we call start-stop transactions.
Okay.
You check in,
right,
and when you go, you check out, enabling people to pay for the real time that they parked.
Okay.
But what we found in the US is that people are more used to what we call a start duration transaction, where they enter a preset amount of time, for instance 2 hours.
Okay.
And then when their meter expired, they either extend their transaction or they leave.
Okay.
But there are alternatives like a flat fee per days. We can do multiple day transactions. Basically, we can slice and dice it the way you want.
Okay. So every iteration or every deployment with whatever, type of parking, you do a consultation with the company or the provider, the space provider, and then you do it based on what they want. You can do it any way they like.
Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, we have our experience, and we are more than willing to provide information and best practices. But sometimes, yeah, parking providers, municipalities have a kind of idea how they want to provide parking, and then we will comply.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And for them, are they branded ever? Is it always ParkMobile? I mean, does it come up? I mean, can you provide a white label service for them to build their own app and resell your services?
Yeah, absolutely great question. In Europe, we have a dual brand strategy. Okay. With a company called Parkline that had a very strong presence in the Netherlands. It's more like a business proposition for business users. So we have both Parkline and ParkMobile in the Netherlands. Here in the US, it's still ParkMobile, and ParkMobile is our international brand. But there are opportunities for us to white label or co-brand our solutions, and we are open as long as the opportunity is there and it makes sense to do it.
Parking is a headache. It always has been, and so finding a parking spot. Is there anything that ParkMobile offers that helps me find a place where I can utilize ParkMobile and can find a spot as I'm heading there rather than when I get there?
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is yes. And well, I don't know if you noticed, but there are several studies that prove that about 30% of city congestion was caused by cruising traffic looking for an available parking space. So if you think about urbanization, if you think about sustainability, the environment, it is very important to offer these type of real-time available parking spaces to people that are visiting cities. And it's also part of a broader intelligent transportation strategy that basically optimizes your travel based on real-time information and also on predictive behavior with algorithms behind it and data analytics. So the answer is yes, we push all our transactions real-time into our database. We can do it to any database, an integrated database, where other types of parking transactions are also integrated, meter transactions, permit transactions. And based on the space inventory, you have a direct availability of spaces yeah, that kind of guides you to an available parking spot. You can decide if you want to park at the cheapest parking in your area, or covered, or gated, or you have all kind of benefits of choices that you can make. We are integrated with several of these providers, real-time parking providers, but we are also working on getting a reverse integration, which means that we're going to add available parking guidance in our payment app.
So, does it open up a map and like a Google Maps and guide me there with Android type voice?
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's how it works.
Wonderful.
But there's a plethora of solutions and alternatives available. You have basically two types of providers. You have basically manufacturers of what we call sensors. These are hockey pucks in the ground. They put them in the ground. They're very accurate, but they're also labor intensive. And you have data analytics, based on real-time information and space availability based on counting the parking spaces.
And you're grabbing things like the Google traffic data and a number of other things.
Exactly, exactly.
So now we go way past parking. Now we're going to saving the environment. We're going to optimizing my lifestyle. We're making it easier for me to park. And so ParkMobile's out to save the world on this.
Well, we want to make your life as easy and convenient as possible. And with big excitement, I can also tell you that we're going to add another layer to our service, which is a more social component. One of the things that we're doing is obviously pin dropping all our parking locations in Google Maps, so we know exactly where you are the moment you start a transaction. And the next phase, and that is a pilot that we're going to start in the next couple of weeks in Atlanta, is that we're going to offer you instant couponing in the direct area where you parked. So the moment you start your parking transaction, that will trigger our database to see where you are and provide you with an instant discount coupon based on the merchants that are in the direct area. We think that that's going to be very powerful, but again, we need to learn a lot about that, and we're very excited to get started with that.
Being the largest provider, now it's become like a word of mouth thing. You have many references, you have many case studies, many white papers, how you solved a lot of problems, you've provided a lot of solutions. What, with the social component, is it you're telling your friends that you parked and you're nearby the movie, or you're at this parking spot, you're at the corner of 3rd and Main, or how does it integrate deeper with the social, or?
Yeah, the next release that we're going to do for Android and for iPhone will have an integration with social media. So there's a Facebook and a Twitter icon where you can check in the moment you start your parking transaction. And also social media is for us the main driver to do ongoing marketing efforts in existing markets. So we totally transformed from traditional marketing methods into social media approach. And what we found out is that we have a bigger reach with social media. It is very cost effective, but moreover it is effective in terms of PR, in terms of registrations and transactions. So we just scratched the surface with it, but we foresee a further integration of everything we do with social media.
It's a great cost saver. I was telling one of my friends, I said, in the past when I was the marketing arm for companies, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in a year. What you now have to spend, it's just labor, you know, to do social media. It's just posting and you know, tweeting and, you know, that sort of thing. And great cost savings, viral spread. I'm sure doing the social thing will bring many more new users, new downloads, new, you know, bring more people to ParkMobile. All the extra benefits, you know, relationship saving, money saving, coupons.
But it's also an extension of our member services strategy. And as you mentioned before, parking can be perceived as a pain in the neck. It's a hassle. So what we need to realize is that everybody has a strong opinion about parking, and that opinion can also affect us. And by, you know, doing a lot of social media, having a Facebook page, and being in direct contact with our members, we can take away a lot of their pain and frustration. And if they're not happy, then we also have a way to direct communicate with them and try to help them.
So it's similar to the Comcast idea of having that two-way open channel where it's not a top-down, you know, or they're calling tech support. They can tweet at you, they can ping you on Facebook, they can interact on your Facebook page.
Exactly.
And also with training, technical issues, issues with NSF, things, all sorts of, you know, you go to ACH their account and they moved the bank account and they forgot to, you know, inform you, and now they have no funds, and, you know, all those things.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, but the good thing is that by being able to have direct contact with our members, we really understand what they want. We can also include their ideas about enhancements to our services, so it's also kind of, I would also almost say like a kind of crowd outsourcing
My
effect.
Starbucks idea.
Exactly. So it is for us a great way to keep them engaged and value them as a valuable resource of information and ideas.
Absolutely. The companies that don't listen to their customers and aren't using social media, in my opinion, are, if they think they put up a Facebook page and they've gotten a bunch of people to like it, and then you go to their Facebook page and all it is likes. There's no engagement, there's no interaction. I went to the ParkMobile Facebook page and there's conversations.
Yeah.
And I looked at them, and you know, I've interacted with Tyler, your marketing coordinator, and you know, he used to tell me, he's like, you know, we're engaged with the customers here. It's not just, I mean, I've gone to pages, 15,000 likes, virtually no content other than likes.
Yeah.
Their logo, their name, maybe a photo of their, you know, one photo, you know, their dog, and that's it. You know, and it's like, what? It's like, and they're like, we're doing social media. I'm like, no, you're not, because I can like your page from somewhere outside of your page. I never even actually visited your page.
Exactly.
I'm flipping the light switch with a stick, you know, and that's not doing social media. That's collecting button pushes, and that's not social media. That's just pablum. You know, that's just like us on Facebook. You know.
No, I fully agree. And another approach that we're going to do is you know, an old method called sweepstakes, but we engage sweepstakes with social media, and the big word is that we're going to give away free parking up to a certain value. And free parking is one of the most sought words on Google. If
Really?
you do free parking, then you'll see a plethora of things coming up. So we strongly believe that this will have a further positive impact on growth of members, and also, you know, help us to steer behavior and steer the membership types that we want to promote.
You know, you're talking about couponing, and you're talking about loyalty rewards and that sort of thing. Other than the parking revenue, and you're really just facilitating that for the provider, so you're making a fee on the click or the transaction, moving and you're doing the entire process for them, I'm guessing. They're not using their payment processor,
We do either or.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but what is relevant for us is not only adding a social component, but also make our mobile payment solution available for other verticals. So first, it's an extension in the current parking and transportation vertical. Think about enabling people to pay for a taxi, pay for transportation, pay even for gas.
Okay.
But obviously our deepest wish is to add more verticals to our mobile wallet and to our mobile payment solutions that enable people to pay for all their micro payments that they have to do every day.
In what countries are you providing service right now? US?
US, the UK, Germany, Netherlands, and Belgium.
And revenue-wise, not how much revenue did ParkMobile make, but how much did you process in parking transactions last year?
More than $100 million. Yeah. We had about 50 million transactions globally, and the fun thing is that America is really growing. It's really growing fast. We were strong in Europe, but if we continue the pace of growth here in America, we will be bigger in America next year than we are in Europe.
And you moved into America?
2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're ready to leave Europe? Are you going to give it up and just you'll stay there and continue to provide service, but
exactly.
The company will focus.
Exactly.
You focus where the money is and where the growth is.
Yeah, and where the market is. You have a lot of emerging markets such as in Brazil and Mexico and India. We've heard great stories about that during the conference, and where there is not established infrastructure in terms of banks, financial system, and in terms of internet, then mobile becomes more relevant, and all the services that are attached to mobile. So for us, it's a huge opportunity to see if we can extend our solutions as a SaaS model to those emerging countries. And again, there's no capex required. So for municipalities that want to monetize their parking and create revenue, I would say this is the answer to their questions that they have.
I want to tell you is I was down here to meet Sandra Pert, the Canadian consulate, several weeks ago, and had to park in these parking lots right on the other side of Biscayne here, the municipal parking lots out here, and their parking system is completely broken. I had to go to 3 different boxes before I could eat, and the instructions were unclear. It had nothing to do with ParkMobile, but the city of Miami really needs you. Really.
I appreciate that. I'm here, ready to do business.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you
I really
so much.
appreciate it. Thank you.